let's move on to the middle four. So these guys were probably the toughest to rank because you got your bottom four, you got your top four. These middle four all had really good parts of their team and then some really bad holes.
Keith Stone, he's always smooth.
Middle picks brought to you by Keith Stone. Okay, let's look at our middle starting at 5, 6, 7, 8. So starting with 5, which is actually going to be Greg, who his average, when we averaged between the 3 polls, he averaged 4, but it just worked out to where he's the 5th ranked team.
Yep.
What do you have to say about
You
Greg?
can never, even if he was ranked 12th, you could never count Greg out.
No. Like last year, he started out ranked 12th with the Peyton Manning bust, and he ends up making the playoffs.
And he's already,
Weasel Wire McGee strikes early this year.
Takes the big waiver wire in the preseason.
Jennings right off the bat.
Yeah, gets me. I hear about MJD going down, and I get on there, and what do you know? He's already struck. Already got him on his team, sitting on his roster.
Not even going to use him. Just has him.
But, yeah. I mean, that's
spare time, apparently.
Greg can go nowhere but up, and I think getting him right there at 5 is pretty solid.
Right.
But we all know he's going to pick up some people.
Right in the middle. I mean, it's like he could break out if these guys repeat their past, or he could fall.
I mean, you got to think he's taking a gamble.
Aging, a couple of guys here and a couple of guys that are sophomore.
He's got a very young sophomore, maybe a sophomore slump in Cam Newton.
There's no way he repeats those rushing touchdowns.
Can he repeat the fantasy production he had last year? And if you look at the last 8 games, he was barely getting 800 passing yards a game. He wasn't getting those 400-yard games. So
one guy that I think is probably going to break out, that's going to surprise people that's on his team is Eric Decker, and that's just because they got a quarterback now.
Right. That definitely could be a big
often, but I agree with you.
And I think a lot of his success could hinge on will we see the real Adrian Peterson this year.
So he should have kept the other Adrian Peterson on his roster.
He did.
Could be this year's Booty Miles.
Looking at our number 16, actually our 6th and 7th when we ranked them out were tied, so we had to do a little tiebreaker, and we ranked Matthew here at
Matthew
6.
Jones, number 6.
So Matthew kind of did something crazy this year, and he took a quarterback before the 13th round.
Who'd go figure?
Right?
And it looks like it might actually work out in his benefit this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably so angry that Phillip Rivers was there, he just ended up having to take him.
I mean, he's got Phillip Rivers, Calvin Johnson. You're never going to go wrong with Calvin Johnson.
A number 1 tight end, a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Steve Smith, also.
Maybe he's another top 10 season, maybe.
Across the board, receivers, tight ends, by far the best.
Right. There's the one big hole, which is the only reason that maybe he's not in the top 4, is going to be at running back.
Yep.
So you look at Trent Richardson, who everybody is thinking, is going to be the next Adrian Peterson.
He has a better chance of having a breakout as a rookie only because he's going to have a quarterback that can stretch the field a little bit for him.
Right. He has no competition. They are going to feed Trent Richardson from day one. The one problem I see him having is 2 games against the Steelers, 2 games against the Ravens, 2 games against a better Bengals defense.
Hard schedule.
Right.
And already dealing with knee issues to the preseason.
Right. Yeah. And I guess that's the 2nd or 3rd time since the end of the college season. So.
There's somewhere Java Best already injured. Out the
Java Best might not even play. Java Best is on there. Is he going to start?
Beanie Wells, Pierre Thomas.
Yeah, Beanie
Pierre
Wells.
Thomas never said, and I've had Pierre Thomas for the last 2 or 3 years.
Pierre Thomas is a bye-week fill-in at best. Beanie Wells is a really low
end. Pierre always has problems staying healthy.
So he's got a low end 1, and he's got a low end 2 at running back, and that's his biggest hole. So that could be what maybe keeps him from making the playoffs, is not really getting good quality running backs. All right, looking at our number 17, which we said was tied with our 6th, that's going to be Patrick Norvell here.
Oh, discount double check.
No count, no checks for old Patty.
Brought to you by this insurance company.
All right, so Pat resulted to number 2 overall with Tom Brady when Aaron Rodgers went off the board early.
Can't go wrong with Tom Brady. Never will go wrong.
Except for 1 year.
Do we have to bring that year up? Really?
That actually happened.
It did happen.
Yeah. So other than 1 fluke injury, Tom Brady has never missed a game.
Hey, you got Wes Welker there.
So he's got the Brady to Welker connection.
Yep.
So any Welker touchdown is going to be a double.
It's one of the safest quarterback receiver combos because he's going to get the receptions and he's going to make yards after the catch.
Right. If he can get the touchdowns, that's going to be huge. That's going to be the question.
Brandon Lloyd coming in definitely puts a.
Right, and you got to think Gronk has been really coming up the last few years, as has Hernandez. So they've been stealing some of that Welker thunder.
So Too much talent.
It is a contract year for Welker. They did franchise tag him.
Yeah, he's got Deshaun on there too. The question is Deshaun gonna run all his routes this year and actually get open? He had a big problem with that last year, which is why he didn't see as many targets.
I did read an interview with Michael Vick and McCoy, and they straight up asked him, fantasy-wise, what receiver should I take, Deshaun or Macklin? Both of them said just flat out take Deshaun. They like Macklin. If you're taking fantasy-wise, Deshaun's the guy you want to have. So it could be
Huge play potential.
I think it's just going to come down to whether he's wanting to actually produce.
Exactly. You know, maybe he has a good bounce back year. Where Pat took him, it was pretty good value.